I'm Jean St. Clair with the Philadelphia Senior Directory. We're here in the home of Vince and Janet Papale, and we are discussing their lives and what it's like now after Invincible in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Webster is describing Invincible as too powerful to be defeated or overcome. What does Invincible mean to both of you?
Well, it is too powerful, but in my mind, it's something that's a spiritual way that you're too powerful, and it's a synergy between mind and body. But Janet has a great definition of invincible.
I feel that invincible is doing the unthinkable. What you put yourself to a limit and you make a choice and you do whatever it takes to be the best you can be. And it also means failing, because in order to succeed, you need to fail and know your limits and then redefine who you are.
Yeah, knowing who you are, and more importantly, being invincible is not being more powerful physically than the other person. It's just that mind, spirit, synergy that you have that enables you to think that no matter what the obstacle, no matter what the adversity, you can do it, you can pull it off, and that dream will come true.
Well, the movie Invincible led to the book Be Invincible, and I thought it was very impressive, the dedication. How did you reach and decide to dedicate your book to patriots, defenders, the veterans, and wounded warriors?
Well, very simply because as a result of Invincible, I've been invited to attend some events, especially down in Alexandria, Virginia, Washington, D.C., the headquarters of the Wounded Warriors and the Paralyzed Vets. And when you see these young men and women who have given everything, I mean, they've sacrificed themselves, you know, and some totally sacrifice for us and our American dream. It's just this sort of our way of just saying thank you. We respect you, we appreciate you, we honor you, and we can't thank you enough for what you've done for us and fulfilling and maintaining the American dream.
Absolutely. They are what it's about. If we didn't have our freedoms, we would be like some of the other countries. We wouldn't be able to reach our full potential. They would decide what your potential is. And they sacrifice a lot. And like Vince always says, he wrote a blog one time on the Wounded Warriors, and he said, you know, when you go into the military, you don't get a signing bonus. You don't get a press release. You know, you just show up and you do what you're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. And so many people nowadays say, hey, look at me, pound my chest.
Yeah. And they do it with honor and with passion and conviction, and it's something that's lacking a little bit today.
I know, it was very powerful. It was very moving for me.
Thank you.
To the movie Invincible, Mark Wahlberg played you, and Elizabeth Banks played you.
Yes.
How did you think about was it good typecasting as far as you were concerned?
Talk about Elizabeth, Jan.
Well, I'm not a big movie person, so I didn't know really. I don't have my favorite movie stars, or, you know, Barbara Streisand was one of my favorites because I love the way she sang and, you know, things like that. But today's people, I don't know who they are. And Elizabeth Banks, what's interesting is she went to Penn.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
She's a very interesting woman. She went to Penn and she changed her name and went to clown school. She got a degree, not in acting or anything. She just got a degree from Penn. I'm not sure if it was in communication or what it was. She ended up meeting her husband there. So it was kind of neat to have her come back and talk about Penn, because I was there when she was there as a coach.
Right, and you were the youngest Division I gymnastics coach.
Kind of neat, because here it is, just your life goes full circle. You don't even realize how much it goes full circle till you do something. You go, oh my God, how did this happen? This is where it is again, back to basics.
I thought she was a great choice, actually, because just the way Janet is, that's the way Elizabeth is. And Elizabeth is bright and sassy, and that's Janet. And if you ever saw the picture of them together, and I do that when I get out and give a speech, I go the real versus real. You have a side-by-side headshot, and you see the two of them. They're like twins. It's amazing. You know, with me and Mark Wahlberg, I would have never thought that Mark would have been the person to play me, and then once I found out that's who he was, which was a lot of fun, because people keep telling, oh, it's Marky Mark from the Funky Bunch, you know. And wow, what a great guy and a tremendous athlete. We got to know each other very well, worked out, trained together, hung out, played golf together. And one of the things I admired about Mark is that he wanted to play the role as a football player, and he did everything he could to morph himself into being an actor who happens to be a great athlete, into being an NFL player. And he dedicated himself to that and did a great job and performed 80–90% of all the stunts. All the big hits were right there, close-ups of Mark taking the hit. Aside from the fact that how comfortable he made everybody feel when you introduced him to our friends, or just being on set, and how friendly he was. He never would go in between takes, and he would never go hide in his trailer. He'd been hanging out with our kids, Gabby and Vinny, who were like 11 and 7 or 8 at the time. Or he'd be hanging out with the people, or in the football scenes. He'd be playing football the whole time in between setups. And just a wonderful guy, and we stay in close touch with him still, and I consider him to be a friend, and the absolute perfect choice. I love him.
Well, I think also what he did that most people don't understand is he wanted to be accepted by the team, the made team. And so he would do cookouts with them. He really tried to bond with these men that were part of his team, and he really wanted to feel what it was like to be a player and to win them over. And so he would do cookouts, he would play pranks on them. I mean, he did a lot of fun things. So, I mean, he really wanted to experience what it was like to be on a team.
Yeah, most of the guys that people don't realize in the football scenes of the movie were former NFL players, or all were at least Arena Football League players. So they're professional athletes in their own right. And Mark wanted to show them that, hey, I can be just like you. And would let them know, hey, don't let up on me. Give me that hit like you'd hit somebody else. And he enjoyed it, and and that's why he's now doing all these action movies, and he's going to be starring in a new one coming out, Lone Survivor. And he told me when we were talking to him a couple months ago, when he was in town, he said, I used to think Invincible was the toughest movie I ever did. He said, but being a Navy SEAL, sorry, pal, you're number 2. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. So a great guy. We love Mark. We love Elizabeth. And of course, Greg Kinnear, who played Dick Vermeil, who is celebrating his birthday. He just nailed it, absolutely nailed it. Michael Nouri from Flashdance doing Leonard Toast. The casting was phenomenal. And we still have relationships with most of the people in the cast still. Yeah. And everybody, the producers, directors, they say it's absolutely, doesn't happen. But with us, those relationships started there, and they continue to be part of our life.
One more quick question. I noticed in write-ups on you, you had a tough time as a rookie learning the NFL jargon. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How did Mark fare?
Oh, he did very well. It's either Mark, ready, set, go, and then cut. NFL jargon's a lot different than movie jargon. Yeah, with me, I wouldn't compare it to any, say it's Greek to me. Whatever the language is that you wanted, it's just every word has a code. You have to understand what it is, and you have to understand that some words don't mean anything, and you have to be able to sift through it. But, I had a knack for it, and I got through it, so it worked out all right.
You absolutely had a knack for it. Oldest rookie, what if you were in your 20s?
What if I were in my 20s? I don't know, but I like the butterfly effect. If I were in my 20s, I wouldn't have had this movie, Invincible. Certainly wouldn't have met you, wouldn't be talking to other children about, kids that have seen the movie, that the dreams really do come true. So it couldn't have happened any better than it was, and the way it is. And I woun't have wanted it any better. I would never met Janet, my beautiful wife. Would have been a whole different ball game. Or maybe, because I would have been over at Penn all the time when you were coaching. And have our beautiful children, and we're so blessed. Think about it, Jan. We talk about it all the time. What would have happened if we met, 15, 20 years ago?
Well, we did meet 20 years ago, before we got married.
I wasn't good enough for her, though.
No, we were. Yeah, well, what's interesting? We were both doing unusual things at that time period, exactly the same. In '76, I became the head gymnastics coach at Penn. Youngest, I was still in college. I had a year of college still to go. And Vince is the youngest rookie.
Oldest rookie.
Or the oldest rookie. So here we are. We were doing so many unusual things. And we met, and I wasn't interested. And we met 20 years later.
Imagine that.
How many? It was like 20, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that. So it worked.
And then he remembered meeting me, and he said, I'm not letting you out of my life this time. He said, I'm marrying you. I mean, we only dated 2 months?
Long enough, baby.
That was.
Yeah, 2 months, and we're 20 years
celebrated
married.
our 20th. Couldn't be better.
Well, I guess that's defined roles, because in your book, Be Invincible, you talked about relationship roles. and you've each assumed, have you changed your roles throughout the years, or is there a specific role that each of you have?
You know, I think what makes our marriage work, aside from our friendship and respect, I think is the real key that we have for each other, that we've erased the past. You know, we don't let other relationships come into our, history. We don't let history come into our life, although there have been some people that try to drive that wedge in there, you know, and they've really done that. Because they see how happy we are. You know, we don't assume any roles. You know, she'll go out, do whatever, and you know, I'll do the laundry. I do the ironing in the morning. I'll do whatever it takes because she works hard, and I know that when she comes home, she smiles when she sees the house clean. So I'll do whatever I can to make sure the house is clean.
I like it organized. I can't work unless everything's organized.
So it's
my office looks a mess, but that's the last thing to go because my house has to be in order.
But it works, and there are whatever role you want to assume. It's not like you got to do this, you got to do that. We respect and love each other so much that we just go ahead and do it, irrespective.
You also have a great giving back philosophy, as the dedication to the veteran shows. But you were the teen angel in the in Cherry Hills High's school.
Cherry Hill West.
Yes.
Yeah, friends of ours. They came up. Actually, the principal and the school asked me if I would do it. We have friends, the Argentina family, our friends, and our kids grew up with their kids that go there, and I said, why not? So I was teen angel and sort of turned it into an invincible thing. But Janet, she's a giver too. I mean, she's given so much, and more than anything, she's probably one of the she's a caretaker, you know, and she takes care of everybody, and she brings pets, non-pets, humans into her life just because she wants to help them, because she just cares about people, and I think that's where it comes from.
But I think we work well together. We compliment. He may yell at me, what are you doing? I'm doing all this. I go, hey, just what it is. And you know, you get out of your comfort. Like for the teen angel, he got up and sang. And he practiced and everything. And it's like, you know, and the kids were like, oh my God, he actually sang. You know, and so we're young. Doesn't matter what your age. It's how you feel and how you act. You can be old at 25 or 30. It's a state of mind, and it's how you look at yourself and how you feel and how you embrace the world. And most people go, oh, I got grandkids, they're keeping me up, I'm old, you know, I can give them back. And I'm like, I didn't have my first child till I was 40. I was 40 years old and 1 month shy of 44 with my second child. And most of our friends are 40 and 50. And I'm going to be 60 shortly. And they go, I can't believe it. But it's not because of the way I look, it's the way I act. And life and the way you are, and you're only as old as you feel. And if you keep yourself young, if you work out, you watch what you eat, you do everything you're supposed to do, you're not always given a healthy life. You have issues, you have heart, you have whatever, Crohn's disease, you have colitis, whatever you have, you work with it and you make every day your best day.
And you have, because you started out at 9. You faced a serious illness. You were given the last rites.
Oh, I was 9 years old and I was in a major accident. I was sledding, believe it or not, and there was a girl on top of me, and I said, oh, we went down this hill and we weren't going, and my hands were under me on the sled, and these boys pushed me down, and I hit straight into a tree, and I ruptured my spleen. But I didn't know I ruptured my spleen, and the girl who was on top of me thought she broke her leg, so I carried her on the sled home and collapsed about 500 yards from my house, and they picked me up and they took me. And what happened is they made me eat my dinner, and my uncle happened to be there that night, and I didn't want to eat, and everybody's like, she's faking it. And I went up and laid, and I got in a little ball, and about 10 o'clock at night, my father said, there's something wrong with her. And my mother said, I said, if I wanted, and I asked to do my homework, and they said, there's something wrong. That I didn't want to eat, and I wanted to go up, and I laid, and they took me to the hospital, and at 2 o'clock in the morning, over at Jean's Hospital, they performed emergency surgery, and I had my spleen removed, and had the last rites, had all my relatives, and I'm from 9, so that's a big, the relatives were all there to say adios.
And you're a cancer survivor.
Yes. Yeah, not quite as dramatic as Janet's. Thank God for Janet for asking me to go and, actually not asking, telling me, threatening me, blackmailing me to take a physical, you know, and do whatever it takes to find colon cancer. And, you know, thank God I took the colonoscopy. And, you know, and they caught it in the first stage, removed 18 inches from my colon, and now I'm a spokesperson for colon rectal cancer awareness. And again, you know, it all goes back to that, you know, hey, what if we did it at 20? With Invincible, the whole thing, it just really gives me a platform to get up and be a spokesperson for many positive things, and that's one of them. So we do a lot of cancer stuff. You know, when we were just talking with Janet, you know, talking about her age. I'm 67. I'll be 68 in February. You know, it's we always say it's never too late to get in the game. And I kid around, you know, you're only as pretty as you feel. You know, and we've got teenagers still. You know, I'm coaching high school football. I love it. Feel like a million. Just got a new knee. You know, I'm like bionic, like half the people out there now our age. But it's working. And I think the reason it works, Gene, and Janet will agree, it's all that attitude. You know, we have a real good attitude about life, about being around people. We'll only surround ourselves with people who are vibrant. I mean, if you're a deadbeat, forget about it. You know, we don't really need you in our life. And we just choose very carefully who we care to hang with, and those that we do hang with share our same feeling and share our zest for life, I guess is the best way to put it. We got a long way to go before they're going to cart me away in that little thing.
Yep.
So what's next? What's on the agenda?
What's on our agenda? Well, Gabby has to graduate college. Vinny has to go to
Vinny
has to go to college. And his dream is to play in the NFL. I hope that he stays healthy and he reaches his dream. Gabby's living her dream right now. We have to watch him get married, have babies. Well, I want to be grandmom at some point.
Well, I'm not ready to be a grandfather right yet.
No, but I mean, that's our
I know.
long term. And I don't know, I want to write a book for children. I want children to be enabled and empowered. There's so much negativity. And what's really exciting right now, I think, is that people are finally getting it with sports. You know how for the last 10 years, 15 years, they've been giving kids trophies for participation. And all of a sudden, there's now people are saying, you know what, we're not giving these participation trophies, which I applaud. I think it's great because you have to teach kids in life at a young age coping skills. If everybody gets a trophy and everybody gets patted on the back and attaboy for participation, what happens when you do something special? It takes the fire out. Nobody gets recognized. So hopefully it'll build people to be creative, to go to reach their potential and to dream again. We've taken some of the dream and the passion out of our kids.
Well, you came from an athletic family.
Yeah.
And you were, Vince, you were a pole vaulter.
Yeah, and my family was athletic. My mother, Elmira, was considered one of the greatest athletes of her time, compared to Babe Didrikson. Called the Babe Didrikson Zaharias, you know, in the neighborhood, and was a professional baseball player. My father, a phenomenal semi-pro football and baseball player. But they never got beyond the 8th grade, both one of 9, like Janet. Both born right around, you know, growing up during the Great Depression. And my father, a pig farmer, you know, and I mean, it's amazing. So we're very grateful for what we have, and that's probably one of the reasons why we give back, and we insist that our children do. They all went to a prep school, or go to a prep school called Bishop Eustace Prep, and they have to do community service. But our kids like doing community service. You don't have to force them to do it. It's part of, it's who we are. It's part of what they do. So what's in the future for me, just like Jan, you know, get our kids through school and into college and all that. And, you know, one thing I like to do is just as a follow-up to our book, Be Invincible, a playbook for reaching your full potential, which has great stories of people and their invincible moments of greatness, is born to be invincible. You know, more, again, geared to the adults, you know, young adults that are struggling, and then or just need a motivation, and then finally, you know, just working on that kids book, which would be a really nice project. So a lot of fun things, but what we won't do is we're not going to slow down. That ain't happening. Retirement is not a word that exists in our dictionary, and
We have college tuition.
I say every day it's for taxes and tuition. It's the TNT, baby.
It's scary.
But whatever it is, we're having fun doing it, and we have some great friends. And it's it's just like I say, it's never too late to get into the game.
Well, we're glad you're out and you're doing it for us. Thank you so much.